Oh my goodness, guys. In this latest chapter of One Piece called Elbaf Snow, chapter 1168, we are still in the backflash, and now we are 15 years ago, where we see basically the situation of all the human beings of One Piece talking to each other, and they're all like, oh yeah, we appreciate the giants of Elbaf now, we are not scared anymore of Elbaf now, and all of that. So it seems that in those years where Harald actually joined Emu and all of that, and he was basically the lapdog of the government and all of that. Well, basically, by him doing that, now he's seen better in the eyes of other human beings in the world of One Piece, to the point where even people are talking about exchange and all of that. And for example, you've got a captain here that says this here is a top quality Elbaf cedar, so you can see that they already started to get some exchange materials and all of that in between Elbaf and other countries of the world of One Piece. And now we are back to Elbaf, and in Elbaf we have King Harald that's speaking to its people, and he's like, yeah, now we can allow ourselves to start traveling. Now we can allow ourselves to exchange with the outside world, and he's also talking about the fact that he in the world of One Piece as a giant with all of the giants, they are actually a minority in the world of One Piece. And that's basically it, because there's human beings all over the world, but giants are pretty rare. And that's when we also get to see where the situation of Sol and his school is. And basically you see that he's already constructed the whole school, and children are already studying in that school. And there's a discussion in between King Harold and Saul, and they're all like, yeah, it is best to actually leave all that warrior history in history and move on, so that they can study and actually have brains. For example, Harold is saying, this is all thanks to you, Saul, and Saul is like, better sharp kids than sharp blades. But then Saul also asks a very tough question, which is, aren't you afraid of losing something here? Meaning, Harold is basically expressly letting go of all of the history, of all of his own history, just so that he can move on, which is a choice. And he says, I don't believe that military power is what makes a country strong anymore. And basically, he calls that the old ways of doing things, because at the same time, literally, I call that Ida is basically dead. She got poisoned in the last chapter, as we saw. She basically got poisoned by the family of the old queen of Elbaf, the ex-wife of Harold, basically the family of that ex-wife, basically, and they did it to Ida because they were afraid that Ida was gonna become the queen now of Elbaf, and that the new ways are settling in and all of that, and that's why they did that, because they don't want to lose the richness and basically the treasure that they were gonna get, because they were affiliated to the royal family and all of that stuff. So that's why they did it, and that's why they also died from that, because Loki was so pissed that he probably finished them right there at that point in time. And in here we can see that Harold is remembering Ida by saying, it's because of Ida, she taught me everything. Meeting her was the greatest blessing of my life. And as we get a backflash into the backflash, I know we are into some Inception shit in this chapter, but we can see that throughout this backflash of the backflash, where Ida and Harold were talking, and Ida is like, Elbaf really has changed a lot. When I first came here, there was tons of internal conflicts, and it was scary. And yes, it was scary because no one would accept her, and everybody wanted her basically to die. And literally, no, right now, in this backflash, she's currently literally dying. And she says now children can laugh and study instead. It's like a totally different country. And that's what basically King Harold has been working on all of his life. Is basically making the giants see that there is actually another universe to this whole world of One Piece, that they are completely messing out by keeping on following the old ways, basically. And she says, at the same time, I kind of like the whole warrior's pride part. It's really cool. You should cherish that culture. And King Harold is like, don't you get it, Ida? It's that very culture that kept us from marrying. I can't accept it. So basically, the culture of warriors that didn't allow them to actually even get married and all of that is basically the same culture that he's trying to get rid of so that he can actually marry her in this new culture, basically. And in that new culture, they'll be able to actually travel like they used to back in the day. And maybe at that point, they will also be taking their kids like Hajruddin and Loki all the way around the world so that they can explore and experience new stuff and all of that. But as they are talking about all of their hopes and dreams, you can see that Ida is slowly but surely losing her consciousness and losing her life power, basically. And basically, you can see that her hand is going down, 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 down as her eyes are closing, and boom, she collapsed. And that's where you understand that Ida is dead, basically. And King Harold, you can see him, he's walking away with his eyes right here, and he's probably like crying, crying, crying. You can see that Hajruddin with all of his friends are trying to go in to see what happened to Ida, and they're probably gonna see that she died. But at the same time, you can also see that that Loki is mourning, but he's also in jail at the same time, and he's probably in jail, just like I said, because he literally killed members of his family in a way. But then moving on to 14 years ago in the Holy Land of Marijua, where Shanks is missing, and he's basically missing right before he actually completed the last mission he needed to complete so that he becomes a God's Knight. So I believe that Shanks knew what he was doing, and he knew when to stop, and he knew when to go. And that was the time to go, because now I believe Shanks knows a lot more about the world of One Piece and who's really ruling and everything. And from that point of view, Shanks was like, you know what, I'm out. And he probably went on to find the Gomu Gomu no fruit, or the human fruit version, Nika. But at the same time, we can see that King Harold is also there with the gorosei, and they're talking about how King Harold actually finished his last mission. And since Shanks is not here, well, guess what? King Harold now is about to become a God's Knight. And doing that will secure Elbaf's membership status. That's what King Harold says. And at the same time, we get to see the discussion that's going on a little bit in between the gorosei and King Harold. And the gorosei are like, congratulations then. The Great One has agreed to trust you. It's been a long process, and you will be remembered as a king who brought great change to Elbaf. And he's like, well, to be honest, when Elbaf finally joins the world government, I plan to relinquish the throne to a younger, more virtuous ruler than I should take over. And right as he says that, he hears a voice, and somebody is saying, that is the matter for Mu to decide. And as he hears that noise or that sound, he looks up, and on the empty throne, boom, he sees Imo right in front of him. And he's like, why? Why is there someone on the throne? And Imo is like, come, Mo has been watching. And right after that, you get a scene of basically Marijua from the outside with a huge noise like ah, of somebody literally just screaming out of his lungs. And basically everybody on Marijua can pretty much hear that noise. From that noise, you understand that Harald has been promoted, had made the contract, the second one, the deep sea contract, and now he became a God's Knight. And with that God's Knight, so basically, the sign that you have on your arm, basically, where it's a round with a cross like this. But now, since he became a God's Knight, he basically has like horns or something on top of that circle, basically, like a mustache or something. I am telling you, the mustache in One Piece means a lot. And you can see Harold saying this power. It's surging within me. It's chilling. And basically you understand that he got bestowed upon him the power of immortality, where now he became an immortal knight sworn to Imu. And he's like, immortal? I can't believe it. And Imu is like, carve an abyss, pentagram in Elbaf that will mark the bond between us. Thy dearest wish shall finally be granted. And as Emu is talking to King Harold is smiling and all of that, and he's so happy he couldn't even be happier and all of that. But just wait, because King Harold is gonna realize, and he's gonna realize soon, the error he has made by actually talking with Emu and cooperating with them and all of that. So just chill out. Don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel before the ending of this chapter. And Emu says, as soon as his last mission is completed, Elbaf will be recognized as a member nation of the world government. And as we come back now to Elbaf, in the West Castle, the castle that we've seen even in the present chapters that we got and all of that. Basically, King Harold went through and he put on that pentagram and he's like, could you repeat that, Great Emu? And Great Emu is like, mobilize the entire nation and form a grand army of warriors. The giant warrior fleet will stand alongside the Marines and serve the world as. And King Harold is like, whoa, hold on. Wait a second. He says, everything I've done was to free Elbaf from violence, and that's what he's been doing. He's been trying to get rid of the old ways, meaning fighting, like swords, like killing and all of that, so that they can use their brains and cooperate and coexist and all of that. But now Emu is telling him, you know what? You actually need to go back to the old way, raise a whole army, and you need to be on my side, basically. And King Harold is even saying if people, basically giants, are still wishing to go and fight and be Marines, go for it, you know. But to basically just shut down and create a whole armada for Emu, he's not agreeing. But Emu is like, thou vowed to atone for Elbaf's history, even at the cost of becoming a slave. And he's like, but the burden was just on me, not on all of the giants. Emu is like, the burden of such history is too great for thee to bear alone. Now hold thy tongue. Thou cannot disobey Emu. Those who enter into a deep sea contract may gain immortality and power, but it comes at the cost of total obedience. Thou will carry out Mu's orders regardless of thou own will. And as Harald is now understanding all of that, he understands that he basically is just a slave to the god of One Piece, basically Emu. He's like, guards! He understands, and he grabs on that sign that he's got on his arm from Emu and all of that, and he understands that he's about to transform and he's about to turn literally devilish, you know. And so at that point he's like, guards, call my sons and call all the Elder Yarrow. I need them right now because I'm about to freaking go deep. And he's like, chain me to the pillar, hurry and summon them. And Loki is still in prison, so they tell him, yeah, Loki's still in prison. And he's like, yeah, go and get him out of jail and get him out of here. And at the same time, go tell Hajruddin and go tell Yarol too. And that's where finally we are coming back to the beginning of actually all of this backlash, where it started, because it started basically with Loki and Yarul in front of King Harold that was already turning dark, you know. And from that, literally, we are gonna go back in the next chapter to that stage in the first page. That's what I'm guessing. And so we return to where this tale began, the day of the castle massacre, when Elbaf's most beloved King Harald the Benevolent lost his life. So basically in the next chapter, guys, we are literally going to talk about how all of the fights went through in the castle and how King Harald died. And basically to understand now everything that King Harald went through and all of that happened to get from point A to point B, and to understand the whole story of what happened. Yeah, damn, this whole backflash, epicness upon epicness. This is the best backflash of all of One Piece included, I am telling you. And on that note, guys, let me know down in the comments below, how do you feel about this chapter? Do you think we're gonna get to the ending of the backflash by the next week or something? Let me know down in the comments below. But on that note, your boy is gonna see you on the next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.